Alright, got something wacky today. So the brewery doesn't make this Terroir anymore, or the Hottenroth anymore. It's their Berliner Weisse that was bottle conditioned and brewed with Brettanomyces, 3.1% alcohol. I think I wiped off the date on this bottle, but this is from like June of 2016. It's got the vintage, I guess, right there. And it's funny because last time I had this beer, it was this same batch, and I had it October of 2016, and I wrote on Untappd that I wish I saved a bottle to age. Well, I found this at a liquor store. At least I found it on their online store, and was like, whoa, that's very interesting. For a while I was like, do they actually really have that, or is that some kind of glitch? But they did. So what's cool about this is that it's a really low alcohol Berliner Weisse, and it actually uses lactobacillus and Brettanomyces, and that's how old-fashioned, historical Berliner Weisses probably were. Hopefully this is not gush, but anything you had to kind of like ferment, hot and sour and age a little bit is going to get some Brett character. And apparently, like some of the traditional Berliner Weisse brewers from Berlin, their beers have Brettanomyces in them, and I really love Brettanomyces, and thought it was worth getting a bottle. So we'll see how this is aged. Has it gotten more sour or less? Gotten really funky? And it's the whole idea of having a near 4-year-old beer that's only 3% is pretty cool. But very, very carbonated. Though it smells like, or sounds like soda. You can hear the bubbles popping, so that head's going to go away pretty quickly. But it's pretty cool that it has this insane carbonation, but it didn't gush. It didn't even attempt to gush. That's maybe in part because of the sourness, but let's see. Has a nice, slightly winey, but just funky, musty, kind of tropical smell. Really big on orange, and the lemony lactic character is a little different now because this has been, sitting around for years since the initial lactic fermentation. The head completely dies. You can still hear the bubbles popping though. Wow. Extremely mild. Not very sour at all. Definitely funky, but not off-puttingly funky. And I don't think it's gotten any acetic vinegary character either. It hasn't really gotten oxidized though. Doesn't exactly taste like a very old beer because the bottle conditioning and the Brettanomyces help to preserve it. Interesting. If you gave this to me, I'm not sure if I would be able to tell that it is almost 4 years old. Ultra refreshing and pretty easy to drink, as long as you're not afraid of a little bit of kind of musty Brett stuff. It's not full-on barnyard, no really scary Brett stinky smells. At least not to me. That's very nice, very palatable. I guess it's very lemon doughy. Those are the flavors that come with lots of orange actually too. Juicy orange, but it's not very sour. It seems like it's gotten less sour, I would say. It seems like a lot of the yeastier notes, like from the original fermentation, not Brett flavors have dissipated. It's not super complex fermentation wise. Like even the Brett seems like it hasn't gone crazy. Maybe because there's just literally nothing left to ferment because it's so low alcohol. It is extremely dry, I guess, but because it's so dry, but it's not bitter at all, there's like barely any bitterness and very low in the acidic level. It's really palatable. It's almost, it's weird. It's almost like a kombucha, but I like it more than kombuchas, but it's simpler. Mm. Yeah, really cool beer. I don't think I would probably buy a bunch more of these. I can't see this beer really getting any better. It was maybe a little brighter and more complex, a little bit fresher, but I've only had this beer when it was like a year old or less, or getting close to 4 years old. So I can't really say what's in between. But it's fun, and if you're into this sort of thing, you might see a Hottenroth floating around somewhere. They don't do this one. They do a beer called H. Fredrickson. They do an actual oak aged Berliner Weisse that's probably with Brett. And that one's a little bit stronger. Yeah, they don't make the Hottenroth anymore, but I do like this because this seems like this is actually what the historical Berliner Weisse was like. Maybe not aged this long. So this is a really unique beer for me to get my hands on. Maybe it's getting a little bit apple juicy, but the thing is that it's not. There's no sweetness, and it's not quite like cider. I like it a lot more than cider. But people who like kombucha and cider might be like, oh, this is a really good beer that I like because it's just so low in bitterness and alcohol and yeastiness. Cool. Fun beer, but probably would have been better at maybe 2 years age. For rating, 4.